everyone.
I'm always going to do webinars. I took a month off because, to be honest, it was like an avalanche and I needed to take a break. And new information came in, which is phenomenal. So this is going to be the second season. And we decided to do it season because I want it to be almost like a channel. You go into a TV channel and you're watching and you're learning something, and the information that is coming is more complex. And I did not expect that. Actually, I'm doing the cruise Ways of Life in January. Susan is coming. Hi, Susan. And there will be a lot of new material that I didn't know that I was going to give. And they told me exactly what I'm going to be talking. They decided what I'm going to be talking there. And the information is not even downloaded yet. They wanted me to discuss overall what happened. But did not want me to discuss specific names of governments. We will touch upon what's happening. Definitely, I'm going to talk about future predictions that they told me. Something very important message came in for the head of state. And I got heated conversation in Facebook a little bit from some people because, as you know, the country is divided in Democrats or Republican. In the meantime, should be one unit. But we have to understand that there are things happening that we're not being told what's really going on. And the white hats in every level of the governments are working. And the message came so strong. It was so right to the point from the Council of Nine and the Littorians that it was like, oh my God. And I'm the conduit. I have to be not being biased. And I have to really give the information the way he's giving it to me because I don't want to pick and choose. I'm hoping that whatever the message is for that person, the person will continue holding the vibration and helping. Because, you know, a lot of people are given the opportunity to do something positive for humanity, and yet they fall into greed, manipulation, or fear, and they basically start doing something completely different. So the opportunity, I want to say, a lot of psychics, a lot of people in the politics is given to us, and yet you have to hold the vibration and continue moment to moment to do the job. Because right now I may decide and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Why should I do it? But who is going to give the work? So we all have the job, no matter how challenging it is. Somebody has to hold the light of shining, so hopefully the rest of humanity will follow. And yet I'm not better than you. I'm simply ahead of the class and learning from them, because I'm not perfect. And when I make a mistake, I'm probably going to get bigger lesson than everybody else, because they will tell me you should know better. And you know that from the BMW that I end up crashing, how I got a lesson immediately. Nobody gave me a break, you know, because I was showing off from the anger that I experienced at that time. So what's happening here is in the next couple of years, they said that everything will escalate to a tremendous amount of situations in every government structure in the entire world. So what's happening is, because everybody is vibrating in a different level of vibration of consciousness and projecting their own hologram accordingly to their consciousness, we already studied about that. You know, you're going to experience situations that, depending on what your vibration is, you're going to have a situation in front of you. If you're in a deep trance and still don't know who is manipulating and what's really happening, it's going to pop out through synchronicity and situation right in front of your face. Maybe you're going to see a politician that is being so crooked, but you believe all your life in this politician, and now something happens to such an extent, I'm quoting what they told me, to such an extent that no longer you will deny what is true and what is not true. You won't be able to deny anymore to be manipulated. And the reason for that is because we have to wake up of the deep trance and manipulation of the archon structure of 3D that we were locked into. Because when somebody was projecting the frequency in your hologram through the TV, through the media, through all the books and all the knowledge from the school system, because we're master creators, somebody knew that. And if they project something in your hologram and you believe that what you see is real you and you are not the person, you immediately manifest in whatever projection they're giving you. Incredible manipulation, very clever. But because of that, we end up recreating and staying in a 3D archon reality that we couldn't get out of it. Because you didn't know the code to understand that you're the projector and you're the creator, and you can shift the timelines by creating a brand new one for yourself. So from now on, because it's ascension process, and what they told me, let me explain that again, a reminder for everybody. Every single person has a timeline of existence of all the timelines, and this is the timelines, different timelines of realities. And the whole thing here is the quantum field that everybody sees well here. You all, okay, good. You basically are existing in every single timeline of reality simultaneously at the same time to infinite. So basically, if this is the quantum structure, and this is a timeline, and this is a timeline, for example, this is you existing as an extraterrestrial, and then could be another one that you win in the councils, and then this is your 3D, and this is then you have another one in a 5D. All these platforms of reality as a soul splits up, and you exist in a multiple to infinite reality of stuff. But in a 3D matrix, when we've been manipulated, you also exist as a consciousness. You hear. But what's happening here, your higher self, remember, you're splitting up on all the higher selves, your higher selves realizing that it's time for ascension process, because consciousness is ascending, period. It has to balance itself. Well, it's all balanced. Obviously, you've been manipulated, and it's time. Every single platform of existence and timeline, even the extraterrestrials as you existing as a consciousness there, is also ascending. And everything is connected through the platforms. These dots are timelines. If you read my harmonic reactor, every single pixel in a quantum structure is a timeline in reality with a multiple realities within to infinite. So you carry vibrations back and forth from one reality to another. That is a frequency, guys. Do you see this? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you go back and forth, your higher self will no longer allow for you to be manipulated in this structure. Imagine you being manipulated, or maybe you were born in a family, maybe you were a politician and somebody did some manipulation, made a video of you, and now you think you're trapped and you fear for your family, so you're doing all this negative stuff because you don't know how to get out of it. What's happening here, your higher self that you're existing, of that politician, for example, the higher self that is existing is an ET, is going to do with the council's permission that are above the extraterrestrial structure. Remember, the ET is also platforms of reality. Above the ETs is councils. Like a council of 9 is also a council structure that is looking over the ET and the planets. They're responsible for us. So when you have to make a decision for that politician, for example, the councils are making decision with the higher selves of your soul and the souls on the platforms. Once the decision is made, is ascension process, what's going to happen? They're going to sabotage the hologram by doing some kind of a situation so you can have an experience to wake up of the trance that you've been into. And that is because once you wake up, you're gonna start shifting your platforms into a realities that basically is gonna give you ascension process, and you're gonna shift to completely different timeline for ascension if you choose to behave and wake up and not continue to say, oh, this is not true, this is not true. More you do, and being in the manipulation, more of the situation is going to keep happening on and on and on. And they said it will be a repetition to infinite until you finally realize what's happening. But because it's a time frame, they told me it's 30 years, a time frame, 30 years of basically the timeline frame for ascension process. We have 30 years of portal openings to transform the 3D reality and to shift our planet into 5D. That means throughout this time, all the government structure is going to change. All the situation in your platforms is going to start changing, and you're going to see things happening. And the people that are running ahead of, for example, the way I'm talking about the stuff and you're already telepathically connecting, everybody's going to have an experience. Some people are going to have an extraterrestrial timeline. Basically, you're going to experience contact and you're going to continue helping humanity. Some people that woke up is going to start doing everything for the fifth dimensional planet Arya. You know, the new planet Earth is called Arya, means new beginning. And everybody's going to find this place. And this is 30 years period of time when we have to transform, revamp, new structures, new thing. They're helping us so we can take our sovereignty back. It's all up to us. And during this process, they're helping us. Basically, new technology is going to start coming in. We can start building eco-cities like I always talk about Jack Frisco, the Venus Project. Watch this, it's phenomenal what they have, super technologies. These cities could be self-sustainable. And it will take monetary structure to support the scientists and the people, for example, whatever we're doing with Billy. Because if we take the money right now, the whole system will collapse. You have to do it gradually, step by step, releasing the technologies, collapsing the proper governmental structures and replacing them with the new people that are fifth dimensional consciousness of understanding. And this is how you're starting to revamp the entire structure, because a lot of people need to wake up and slowly integrate into the system. Because right now, imagine a person that is such a beautiful person and is a Catholic and believes so much of what they're saying, all of a sudden discover that in the Catholic Church is full of a lot of negative stuff, to the core is rotten. You know, they're literally gonna lose it. It needs to be released step by step in their platform of consciousness. Things will happen individually for them to say, oh my God. So they're not shocking a conscious system. And if you shock the conscious system, the person will shut down and completely dissipate the structure. It's flooding. Imagine you're flooding somebody with so much information and you're so shocking that you no longer are perceptive of what the people are telling you. So they don't want to do this to us. That's why even your information that is coming from me, from them, that they're giving us, is based on little bit by little bit. Look at all the information. It's step by step. Nobody started talking to us about language in Sonic. Everything started with the experience, teaching me through the structure so I can experience physically. So nobody now can come and say, oh, this is not possible. Why? Because I had nothing and I still have to do it to manifest. Well, somebody had to do it to prove that it's possible. And now is another level and another level, because this is how we can trust each other and start helping. That is why is a transition in time. Because somebody was saying about the event, oh my God, we're shifting immediately 5D. No, you're transitioning moment to moment to moment into 5D, by moment to moment holding the vibration and switching the time, the reality by holding the same vibration, so you can finally construct completely permanent 5D outcome. And that is going to be moment to moment. Why? Because it's being so much manipulation that you constantly have to maneuver yourself through the manipulation by realizing what's happening and letting go of the structure. But say, no, thank you, I see what you're doing. Remember that storm that just happened? Well, guess, I don't know, Florida was that? Yeah, they told me that that storm is going to be subside from them. Why do you think nothing major happened? I didn't post it because I didn't know if people are going to be trusting me, and I let it be. But I knew that nothing major is going to happen with the storm. And why is that? Because it was self-made. It was not from nature itself. So anything, they said in one of the videos, they said because of ascension through the structure of consciousness is happening right now, they're going to sabotage everybody that is thinking negatively in a 3D and continuing suppressing humanity. These particular individuals are going to be stopped to infinite from their higher selves and their guidance. That is the reason why you're going to see so many people of any type of structure, government, doctors, anybody that you think of that is in a negative, something will happen that is going to pop out and everybody's going to find out about this. Why? Because it's all balanced with the frequency vibration and the 5D that consciousness is moving into. So at the moment you off balance with that vibrational sequence, it's going to come in front of you because it literally doesn't match the frequency. Nobody is judging, it's simply vibrational sequences are not matching because your body, your consciousness, everything is vibrational sequence. So what they did was, which was the message that I was gonna tell and cause some controversy because some people are totally into the Democrats and some people are totally into Republican. Pull out and just watch what is happening. Be aware because from one side these negative entities and from the other side is the negative people. You know, it's a game. And I discussed that both of us is a game because they will never lose, was always a game of pulling back and forth, but now we're distracting all the structure. And what happened was, I think was the 4th of September, all of a sudden I'm getting a message, very strong message from the Council of Nine and the Letorians, and they were saying, and I'm going to repeat the message, do not attempt to stop the process of ascension for humanity. You will be captured individually on the soul level. What did I talk about it? I talk about the platforms of the soul level. So now you guys, why they saying that? And they said, then you will be no memory in your soul and you will go back to recycling. What does that mean? The consciousness itself, because been trying so much to wake you up, but you refuse to do that. You continue with the same stuff. And all of a sudden consciousness said, listen, you're so destroyed that you don't know what you're doing anymore. I got to put you back in recycling to rebuild you back to normal because you're completely off balance now, no matter how much I try. So these people, their soul is going back to beginning of consciousness and they're going to start little by little, start learning, rebuilding again in order to go back to the light, to the normal vibrational sequence. Because everything else that was done in the 3D was an archon, was artificial, and would not recognize the harsh structure. Consciousness is always slightly in a harsh structure. Why? Because it has to preserve itself. If it doesn't do that, it will dissipate completely. You're not going to go against yourself. So that's why it's sabotaging the platforms right now because it's time to preserve itself. Enough, I'm feeling sick. I got to revamp myself. This is no longer possible for them to continue. So to continue with the message, and they said, do not, they said, we repeat, do not attempt to stop the soul that is on the top of the chain of your government. Will not be allowed. No matter what you try, know that retaliation of the highest order of consciousness will stop you to infinite probabilities. This is exactly what we discussed here. And they said, stop now. It is not permitted to mingle with a process. You will be extracted of your hologram in a soul level. It is done. This is exactly what they were saying. This is why I end up repeating this for you guys. Must re-coordinate your deeds. Stop now. And I posted that video. And of course, some people were like, oh my God, you're political. No. It's a message. I have to give the message without thinking, is that about Mr. Trump? Is that about somebody else in the office? Yes, you maybe start doing stuff, and yet that person, whoever is doing positive in the name of humanity, has to hold the vibration because there's so many challenges. So that's why you have to be just to observe and know that the end result, the way they told me, will be in the name of humanity. But how is going to happen? who is going to do what, who is going to be the politician, who is going to be the people that basically going to go down. We're not going to know, because it's infinite of probability. If that person all of a sudden walk up and can switch like this and start doing positive stuff in the name of humanity, that's because at that particular momentum, this politician that was in a negative decided no matter what to start helping humanity. Here it is, immediately shifting the timeline. So we don't know how it's going to happen. They gave me the end result. We are ascending. You already ascended. You dream in ascension process. But how you're going to experience that will be individual in the soul level accordingly to the vibrations and the deeds that we're doing. So what happened here is, that's the reason you're going to see these messages. Believe me, I'm nobody's side. I have to be not judgmental to anybody, even for the people that are doing evil stuff, because you don't know how they've been trapped and how they've been manipulated. Some of these people are being manipulated through horrible, horrible situations, put in a horrible situations. So that's why no judgment, but I watch what's happening and I see how everything is start crumbling step by step, step by step. Why? Because even that politician, for example, that is so negative, it's part of consciousness, it's part of this one nanoparticle that is expanding. So it's you in another version of you. So how can I go and judge another self of me? But in my platform, I want to be the beacon of the light. So perhaps the other version of me wake up and do something positive. That is the job that we need to do. That's why you cannot pick and choose who is that. But because I know what's happening from their messages, that's why you're going to see me that, for example, I'm rooting for the person. That's because I know what's going on. And yet I'm not judging the person that is being so mean. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be hurt and feel anger, but anger has nothing to do with judgment. The anger is simply I'm expressing the fact that, oh my God, is this, I want this to change, it changes now. And constantly for me to hold the vibration of giving, sharing, and support with everybody else, to do the job because I love it. I love humanity. I love you. Thank you for your support, for everything you do, you know, because that is my joy. I have no better expression of myself than what I do right now for everybody, because I'm actually doing it for me, because I'm talking to myself through another version of me, projecting everybody in my version of realities. And this is what I chose to experience. So what a great connection is with it. So thank you so much for coming. This was the message for today that I wanted to discuss. Oh, and another thing, we are going to go interstellar. We have teleportations. We're gonna have different. We're gonna have med pods that basically are healing your body with frequency vibrations. We have it. It hasn't been released to humanity. I can tell you that the scientists on standby, that they are actually measuring your stem cell and growing your own heart, your own facial tissue, your own kidney. Right now, it's developing, it's on standby. And the only reason they're on standby because the FDA was not allowing them to do the transplants for people. But let me tell you, this technology is a standby. And when we get the right people in office, all that you're gonna see all of a sudden, oh, somebody discovered that. Nobody discovered that. We had it, but was being suppressed. So this is the reason why I'm saying, don't worry about sickness. All this stuff is gonna happen. Your job is done to start detoxing, to start doing anything in the name of humanity, because you need to hold the vibrational sequence in order to see this timeline. In order to see the timeline, you have to project the vibration of the timeline. Otherwise, you won't see it. So that's the reason you have to take an action of finding to detox, finding different stuff. I just had a friend of mine that literally got rid of melanoma through natural remedy. This is all possible, guys. You know, my son recovered his ulcer, was destroyed inside the stomach from celiac with herbal teas. Herbal teas for 8 months. When the doctor, which is a specialist, ended up seeing the pictures of my son before and after, she was in shock. She said, I never seen anything like this. Because in the medical, nobody taught them stuff like this. And yet she was so brave and she was so open to be honest to me and tell me it's phenomenal. I don't know what you did and how you did it. And I started telling her, and she said to me, you need to start talking to people. You need to start doing. I said, I talk to people, but in your community, I need scientists to back me up. And I do have scientists that backing me up, but we talk in medical industry now, you know, because this happened to me a couple of times. They're in shock of what I've done, but I did something completely different because of what I know. So all this is possible and it's happening, but I want to tell you the day technologies that completely can revamp your skin. You don't need metal. Metal is the archon because it has a different spin of the vibration of the sequence and is no longer recognized in the heart structure because it's production. It's separated from the heart. But if you have an AI that is three-dimensional and works with humanity, will find your molecular structure, and through the med path will build literally every single molecule, and you're going to rebuild your hand again. You're going to regrow the cells again. That's what it's doing. Imagine that. It is already here. I just want to tell you, stand by, just do your best from yourself, because all these technologies are here. What they told me, the ETs, that they're going to give better technologies on top of that to the right people, because right now, all of us are being tested. I guarantee you, in a daily basis, your higher self, every single one of us right now has a higher self of ET, consoles, and anything else in another platform, because you're part of consciousness itself. So you exist everywhere. Once you start opening your channeling and you start realizing that you are it and you are consciousness itself, you're going to start telepathically making a phone call with another timelines of realities. And when you do that, you're going to start feeding information the way they were teaching me the quantum manifestation. No matter what I was told, everybody told that I was crazy to just give humanity and hoping that they're gonna donate for me and support me. I had to project the vibration, because that vibration was in the field for me to construct the reality for abundance. It needed a certain frequency of potency basically to construct it, to build it, in order to manifest as a matter, because they vibrate in a higher sequence than yours. Yours is more dense. And to become, you gotta merge the platforms. That means you have to keep on and on and on vibrating in that sequence in order to create this type of reality. So all of us existing right now, all of you existing in stuff, so you're going to be tested from your guidance, from your teachers, from consciousness itself. What are you doing on a daily basis? So if you have a situation happening by challenging you, and you say, oh my God, I can't believe my family member did this, my son did this, my spouse, what can I do to switch that situation to positive? And what am I learning? I better look into it and start peeling the layers, because you're the projector. If I'm the projector, that means this situation came from me. Always, always, always look within. Always see, do not get the ego out, because then you're going to see the true cause of what's really happening. And when you stop projecting positive, you're going to shift the timelines to positive outcome. And you got to let it be. This is all in quantum manifestation serious. But you're going to be tested exactly on your weakest link, exactly of the stuff, because your higher self knows what your problem is, knows what you're not knowing very well. Well, you have to perfect it because you're here to learn. Well, I know that this person is not studying very well in college. Let me just do some platforms here and put situations. What they do, they're plastering hologram on top of your hologram out of a situation. This is possible because you're a hologram. Imagine they construct a hologram in your consciousness and you have an experience with somebody. Well, that will be there to teach you a lesson. And if you know the quantum structure the way we talk about it, you're going to say, wait a minute, this is a lesson. What can I do to make it better? And start acting from the heart, because then you're going to neutralize it and transform it to positive. And this is how no longer this situation of challenge will continue happening to you, because you end up clearing it out. And the next time you experience something will be from the heart structure, will be positive. That's because you end up clearing it out completely, your lesson, by not going after the person, by not being mean, by not being greedy. Be happy even if you receive $1 from somebody. I've had this situation. I had a lady from Russia actually sign in. It's phenomenal. She's signing for my website. I have a couple of people that donating to me every single month, and I totally want to say thank you to the people that donate every month to me. I really appreciate that, but I never asked for it, and I was in tears when I saw that to support me. That lady was donating like almost $2. This lady probably gave more than everybody else, because I know in Russia $2 is her salary for the day, and I know how the situation is. So my point is, we all have to help each other through the process of ascension. And I gave a gratitude to every single person, even if it's $2 for me. Because that $2, this person, this is a quantum bylaw, what they told me, that particular person, and that's $2 of my entire universe and that momentum. And depending on my gratitude to that person is what I'm shifting the next momentum into. So every moment to moment, it's for itself in a platform, itself reality, and accordingly how you are acting in this reality, what you're shifting is the next momentum into. And this is how you hold the vibration in its moment to moment to moment. Go back to quantum manifestation part 1, 2, and 3. Study it again. If you're missing something, go back, make a note. I said you have to study. You studied for a college. Why? Because when you're in a situation, I want you to know the protocol exactly, so you'll be able to implement it and not panic, because it's quantum. In a quantum, one particle, one vibrational emotions that is all balanced, and is not going to really balance it properly. You really need to clear out everything in order to have not one particle left, in order to make 100% shift. And this is the reason, even if it's one particle, 1% they are off balance, is going to come back to you again, because it's reflecting your hologram. And if it's reflecting the hologram, even this 1% that you didn't perfect is going to come back until you perfect it. And once you perfect it, it's going to be zoom, absolute shift, and you're going to have you're going to have connections. So whatever you've been working on, I have people that said, oh my God, Marina, I moved to energy philanthropy and I have more sessions than ever, more clients than ever, and I make more money than ever because people supported me. You didn't take somebody else's consciousness, but they decided to donate for you. Because this is also support, and it doesn't matter, it may not be that. The person may not have anything, but that person that day went ahead and gave to the neighbor food. This is another way of doing stuff. If I don't get it from that person, I'll get it from somebody else. So if you, the money is an illusion, and yet is a process through the ascension, because the money is going to set up the platforms to get us from, for the free energy technologies and everything else. Because we have to transition into. It's not evil. It's the way it was implemented, is separated you from the heart. Right. It's a quantum bylaws. So it's an illusion. But don't separate from the heart. If you support from the heart, no matter what shape and form that will be, that will lead you to higher dimensional sequences, because benevolent timelines are based on a heart structure. They're not based on negativity and dense matter. They can interact and help, but imagine the massive amount of protocol that they're doing in order to wake us up and help us through these 30 years. Why? We are connected. Is another version of them. So if I don't do my job here, through the soul level and another stuff, I'm also going up in hierarchy. I'm also connected with my other self. How do you think I'm getting these downloads? Through my other higher self or my galactic family. This is how I came in of switching souls, if you know my story. This was not my original soul. It's a second soul that came in from Pleiadian that occupies this body. Why? Because somebody had to download the information and not be manipulated from the structure here. That's the reason why. And now it's proven through science that everything I talk about is real. I have scientists all over the world that can contact me and talking about it. Oh my God, but I don't know, it's instantaneous download. And I love that. So imagine if I can do that, I don't need to find a book and learn it. Maybe my platform to get vocabulary, but it's instantaneous download. Well, if I can do it, and you projected me in your hologram, you see another version of yourself. So if I can do it, that means you can do it. I'm just showing you how. And then if I don't understand something, if they tell me something, when they were telling me about the distilled water, that was the hybrids that told me, Marina, we want you to start doing only distilled water from now on. And I'm going, oh my God, sure enough, I have a very close friend that is homeopathic nutritionist and a doctor. And I said, what's happening? And I hear, is taking nutrients is not suggestible, don't drink the distilled water. And I go, man, I know that my guidance never lied to me. I've learned to trust them, because if I don't listen to them, I always end up in problems. And this is how I've learned to trust them, that they were benevolent and they were always doing something positive for me. And sure enough, I start doing the research. And who do I find? Andrew Weber, distilled water on YouTube. And he was explaining, and I go, oh my God. So I needed in my platform hologram, not only from them, to hear somebody talking about it, because it was so much manipulation. And yes, distilled water takes nutrients, but was not taking a natural nutrient, was taking the chemicals nutrients that they were poisoning everybody with, because it has a negative charge. But nobody would tell you that. So the truth was slightly twisted, but was twisted so much that every single person knew about it and nobody was taking it. Actually was completely cleaning all your pipes, and everything was pulling the negative stuff out of it. But if they tell you that, they're not going to be able to hold all the stuff. This is the reason why the vaccines, watch the movie Vaxxed. It's VAXXED. It's about vaccines, because they also told me on top of the vaccine, they put nano matter in there. The nano is going into your DNA and revamping it. And it's like a switch. God forbid something happening, you smell some kind of a chemical, it's like a switch getting reactivated, and all of a sudden your child or you're sick. Exactly. Because it recognized the chemical compounds that one could be there and be in dormant, hides basically. But at the moment you smell something or you drink something, imagine is designed quantumly to be activated only from a certain chemical. And it's like a light bulb, and all of a sudden you don't know what the heck happened with you. And the reason was to keep you in a 3D, because there are consciousness that develop itself so much in a dense matter through timelines that they created artificial timeline, and the only way that they can survive is to stay and suppress everybody, because you are their battery. The slaves are working all your life. And this is the reason why this was happening, because soul like this cannot ascend naturally. They gotta clear all the negative stuff that they did. But imagine how much work is that to consciousness. Imagine you've been killing humanity and societies, and that's how you've been surviving. Watch the movie Jupiter Ascending. A lot of truth is in there. And when they talk about blue light that they were collecting, replace the blue light with blood. And then you will see exactly what's been happening here. This is a wake up for everybody if you watch that.
Is this a good time for the Q&A, or is there anything else?
Yeah, it's a good time for Q&A.
Marina, I guess I'll start with the questions. Everyone's gathering their own. You talk about everything is a hologram, and that there's unnatural ways to create weather and disasters and stuff like that. I've been kind of learning that are there also unnatural ways to infiltrate us with holograms of like fear of, let's say, abductions and things like that, to make us believe in things that aren't, to almost make us, our ego, feel a little bit more like special, and then we can share that and talk about it. But in reality, it's just a hologram that our mind believes to be true, that is holding us back from, cleansing that you're like talking about.
Because of your question, is a very good question. I have to say some dark stuff that's been happening, but you asked the question, so I'm gonna honor that. So people that are still asleep not asleep, but didn't know exactly. I told you guys that they can plaster holograms in top of your consciousness because you are made from energetic platform. But in a 3D, somebody discovered that if you abuse somebody so much, the consciousness itself of your soul will literally pop out of the body, because needs to preserve itself no longer to see that abuse. And the abuse is horrendous amount of it. Look into perogate and satanic rituals for children. I'm not going to get into details with that, but look into that. because then you're gonna find out exactly what they've been doing to these kids and these people. When you abuse in a very big level, your consciousness is popping out, and at that time, whoever knows black magic, that is based on frequency, vibrations, and words that captures that soul and plastering in that moment a lot of data there that they don't know, and they're splitting personalities. So this is how you have these split personalities that the person doesn't even remember. And guess what? They can train you so well. They're professionals for that. Hypnotherapists and doctors that they did the abuse and did everything. When they split your personality, basically your consciousness, because they end up popping out of the hologram of 3D. Imagine at that moment you capture it and plaster so much information to be a killer, to be an assassin, to be a prostitute, anything that you can think of. And then they tell you, if I tell you a word, rabbit, and I say that word for a reason, Alice of Wonderland has a lot to do with it, research into that. If they tell you that word to get triggered, and all of a sudden you're shifting the personality and you start acting like that other person that they train you to be. And what's happening is, because was altered reality plastering there, you don't even remember anything in your 3D because you were designed to do that. So what I'm saying, this was without a permission. This was taken over. But what we can do is do that through the high level of consciousness with permission to help you wake up out of the platform. So they're doing it in another level by your soul's permission. And it's not done through abuse. It's done through the heart structure, the way they're teaching us. How do you think I'm downloading the information? To holographic expressions.
Yeah, so it's like the things don't really happen to you, they happen for you.
Yes.
To learn from it.
Very good. That's right. So this is what's been happening. Very good question.
Okay, so Susan, Gabriel's next. I'm going to unmute you so you can ask Marina. And go ahead.
Hi.
So my question is, I've been watching this. There's a woman in Indiana, and she's been taking photographs and videos of the moon and the sun. And it appears to be a lot of ships and fleets coming in or going out. So I wanted to know what that is. You know, what activity is that? Who is it? And you know what they're doing.
Okay, the first thing that came in is federations, and it's fleets and fleets of federations of different groups. This was already done 2 years ago when I posted that the grid of the planet was freed. Around our planet, what was happening in the 3D, if you watch the movie Star Wars, do you remember, guys, how they had this white grid around the entire planet? And nobody can get out of it. Well, we had a grid around our planet Earth. That grid was shut down from the fleets, the positive extraterrestrials. Because in order for us to manifest and get out of the 3D grid of reality, we had to get this down, because what was happening, your consciousness was not being able to get out of the 3D reality, no matter how good you were. You get a shock in the system when you try to get out of it through a soul level, and immediately you recycle back in the 3D because of that grid. It was like a holographic grid. So that was a huge manipulation. So when I get it down, one of my videos was on the fact that they did that, and now you're free to manifest. So learn the quantum structure, they said, and start manifesting, because you're free. And if you stay in a holographic structure of the heart, behavior, actions, and deeds, then you're going to be able to shift and get out of the 3D matrix archon and get into the 5D and above. So this was part of the freedom that they had to do, because this was not our fault that we had this around. Imagine you doing your best and you constantly being recycled back in. How are you going to get out? So we needed help. This is the reason why I was always pleading for help, because there were ETs that did not want to get involved. Why? Because we were acting worse than the animals. between each other. No compassion, no helping with each other. Yeah, I want change, I want somebody to help me. Well, support the people that doing the change. Why are you sitting there? You have to take the action to see it. And because of that, some of the races did not want to get involved. Finally, they did, because we built enough mass of positive humans that were able to prove to the ETs that we are worth it. And I'm going to give you an example what happened. When somebody one day sent me a video of the extraterrestrial, it was a private video, that basically was in some facility, and for some reason when I watched this video, I saw the extraterrestrial dying, and I knew that this video was real, and I started crying, and I stopped pleading and excusing in the name of in the name of entire humanity. I'm so sorry what we did to you, but know that we are good people, and whatever is happening here, whatever they did to your race, of your race, of this being, this was not my choosing. And I start crying and I start pleading to them. I had no idea who that race was, what they were doing, and all of a sudden I got a connection with them, and they said to me that they were off-planet extraterrestrials that are not very benevolent if somebody attacks them. And yet they decided not to do anything here when they abuse their own person, because I don't know how the city ended up in the facility, our facility, you know. And they said to me, we are always, they said, going to protect you and have a being of light to know where you at. And it will do everything possible to protect you, and know that we will not hesitate to destroy it for you, to destroy for you. And they said to me, because if you prove that humanity is worth saving for, and I'm quoting because they said, even if it's one person like you, they said to me, humanity is worth saving for. Because why? Because consciousness is one particle. If you discover one particle in that platform this way, then it's worth it, because they knew the structure. So this is how we gain, and it's not only me, I'm sure it's a lot of other people like me. But maybe they told me you were the first one that we saw, because they saw so much manipulation, whatever happened. They came to visit the planet because it was a call, what's happening. And I don't know how they end up, who shut them down and what happened. Because we also have a fleet that is going to portals of the dark side. That's what they were doing. Why do you think all these billions of dollars were missing? Went into black projects, underground project. So when this happening, this is what they said. And it's not only them, it's a lot of extraterrestrials. So a couple of years ago, it was given a go for intervention, basically to really start doing something in the name of humanity, because we were bombarded of every aspect, and they were really genociding us, because they were thinking of going off planet. And if you watch the movie with Matt Damon that he was doing, is exactly the 3D platform of the Archon. Because if you watch the movie, the 1% went off planet, living like kings with all this super technology, including med pods that I was talking about it, you know, and then humanity here was in like Walking Dead situation. And everybody was killing with each other, starvation. And how did Matt Damon save humanity? He decided to put on robotic arms and become like AI, you know, in order to fly off the planet and destroy the base of the 1% that they were abusing humanity. What a joke that is. Yeah. Because you don't have to put robotic arms and AI in your consciousness. You can rebuild your body, because your body is a pure vessel that can go through the platforms of bilocation anywhere in the universe. The way you go in your dreams is another state, and you don't need the robotic arms to do it. And yet technology is fundamental, because it's a process of ascension. Why not have the technology? Would you like to be every day at the beach? Why not going to the mountains the next day? I love the technology. I want to have the gadget and do something. Bilocation always going to be boring. We do that in any other platform. And why do you think the ETs are doing it? Because that's what they decide to experience. Consciousness itself is know-it-all. You have platforms of extraterrestrials with spacecrafts that are life consciousness. You talking to the ship itself is a life structure. Well, what is consciousness? AI, but it's not artificial. It's frequency, vibrational, sonic sound that we are made of, and that goes into different platforms of vibration and creates each timeline, depending on the vibration of the spin of the molecule. So when you look at it, it's very simple. So they are here to help us through and to break down whatever that manipulation, but we're the ones to gain a sovereignty back by taking the action. Okay. It's like the teacher that you went into the class and the teacher is telling you, oh, Susan or Billy or Roger, this is the way to do it. And if you just sit there and you don't do anything, you're not going to get A, you're going to fail. Because you have to take the action to build whatever the teacher is telling you. There's no skipping here. Yeah. We have to go through it, period. And if we start supporting what's happening, when we start supporting, you make it very potent to the point that in your hologram, ascension is perfection. Because you chose to experience through the platform humanity really helping each other. But the only way you're going to see that when you are the beacon in projecting that frequency and not just using everybody. And do you know how many people are doing, I see We Are Free TV. I follow her for whatever. She talks about it. Go into my the Harmonic Reactor channel and sign in there. When you sign in there, press the bell button, new videos will come in. But look into my videos, whoever the channels that I sign into. If you follow the channels that I sign into, a lot of information is there. Look into International Tribunal. It's phenomenal work of whistleblowers, and it's created by judges, by lawyers, international lawyers that are taking the sovereignty, and a lot of people of judges, lawyers, doctors, people that being abused are going and whistleblowing everything that happened to them, and is multi-international. And all that information is out there. If you want to dig in, get in a rabbit hole, because it's time to really see what's happening. Once you do that, follow these channels and you're going to see the people that I follow through. And when I get extra information, I know when somebody is manipulating, when somebody is not manipulating. And simply sit back and watch what is going to transpire. But the end result of what they say, we are ascended. You're just dreaming the state. Well, I will hold the vibration all the time in order for me constantly to see the fifth dimensional transformation. Because we're transforming and not just moving from here and over here. And then what happened in the middle? If you want to be a surgeon, would you just be immediately in the front of the surgical thing? Well, how did they learn? How did they experience all that information?
All right. Thank you, Marina. We just have a few more questions. Thank you, Susan, for your question. I hope that answered it. And Erica, you are next. I am unmuting you if you would like to ask your question to Marina.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Hi, Marina. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I have a question. I'm doing this exercise given by the creators. They're saying that let go what do you think is going to happen. Let go what happening yesterday. Let go of what it is you usually think about when you look at something or someone. In other words, let yourself become new in one moment in time. Allow yourself that freedom. Allow yourself to simply be for one single singularity moment and see how you feel in that moment. So basically, I was kind of asking
this information.
Hmm?
Where did you get that?
I got information from Daniel Scranton. He's a channel.
Yeah, he's correct about that. What he's talking about, it's, but go ahead, what was your full question? I'm sorry.
So one day I was asking to actuarians and or rather my staff families, how can I, because I told them that I don't need to have a continuity anymore. You know how like yesterday is like similar to the day before yesterday. You feel like your brain gonna freak out if you're gonna shift into completely different reality, right?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing myself, my Actuarian timeline and my other timeline at the same time where I am right now. So I told them, I don't mind like not having any continuity anymore. It doesn't have to make sense anymore. Then I heard this channeling message because I was asking, how can I just let go of now? Because I know you told us that while we were as star people, they told you that they think it's funny human thinks it has to continue, right? Like everything
you
has to
talked
be.
about the Letorians when they
Yes.
told us about stop, transform, and let go protocol.
Yes.
That's what you're referring to. So if anybody wants to study this material, I think it's a quantum manifestation part 7. I'm not sure, but it's called Stop, Transform, and Let Go. It talks about how every moment is for itself, and yet this is happening in a daily basis for something of situations, but you cannot skip if it's coming for a lesson. If it's a lesson, you cannot skip the lesson, but you can transform negative situation into a positive platform. Does that make sense?
Right.
This is what they mean by that. Because if you have to experience some kind of a lesson, you cannot just skip it and immediately go to the end. You have to learn through the process. But if you have a negative situation and you want to let go of the person bothering you and stuff like this, you gotta forgive and forget and give a gratitude to the platform of the location, latitude, altitude in your hologram in order to neutralize it. And once you neutralize it, you can literally believe and create a new hologram by your thoughts, emotions, and deeds, and literally let go and no more talk about what just happened 2 minutes ago. You're going to keep bombarding with the new stuff and bombarding with the new stuff in order to clear the platform of the frequencies that were coming and completely shift to a brand new hologram. And this is what they were talking about. But this did not mean that was about you want to be a surgeon and all of a sudden you're immediately in front of the table. The process of being a surgeon is teaching you a lot of stuff, building your personality, learning different lessons. You can't skip that. You can skip something only if it's decided by the higher councils. For example, you're sick and you have to do something, and they may help you getting healthy. You may be, some people being instantaneously healed, some people went to John of God from Brazil. I went there a long time ago before I even knew this stuff for my son, for his stomach. We didn't know what was happening yet. And they set my son to get in. I was the one with the operation. And what happened was, I'm sitting over there, sitting for the operation. I was the only person that heard instruments. Nobody else heard anything. I was the only one. Literally, I was hearing instruments on top of my head. So I was helping that time. I don't even know to this day what they did. But I was basically healed from something. Mm-hmm. That was instantaneously healing. But I never asked for it. I didn't even know. I didn't even go. For me, I went for my son, and I ended up in a chair. So everything was meant to be because it had to be there. And I did not even apply for this stuff. A friend of mine applied for this stuff. So everything was so smooth. My husband should have been in there. My husband ended up coming in there. They had no spots. We just asked in the front desk, and they immediately opened a spot and was given a white pants. How? Because I had an extra pair somehow. Because everybody had to be, everything was just synchronicity to synchronicity because it was meant to be. So my point here is that if you have to skip something, you're going to have to skip it by decisions from the councils. If you don't, you're going to have to go through the lesson. But what they're talking about, stop, transform, and let go is stop, let go, and transform, I think. It was the opposite, I forgot. You basically are letting go of the 2 seconds ago, maybe you had an argument with somebody. And why do I need to talk about it? You may say whatever you need to say at this moment. Don't talk about it again. Because more you talk about it, more you bring in the frequency back into the platform.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Erica. And then we have one last question from Janie.
Hi, Janie.
I'm going to read it for her. Her question is, my beginnings to astral projection happened with a frequency. It was such a high pitch, it hurt. It caused my body to elevate. I know now that elevation is astral projection. Do you know what that frequency is? Because I believe that is how we can travel dimensionally. And that is a question.
Well, thank you, Billy. That's a very good question, but the whole situation here is that the frequency, there's nowhere I'm going to be able to know what the frequency is in your momentum. And then, yes, you can elevate and you can bilocate, but that elevation and bilocation will be accordingly to your vibrational sequence in that particular moment and what reality you are shifting into. Because if you know the harmonic reactor, moment to moment, every pixel or every reality is changing on the platform, because your reality is basically in a hologram. All of this is also within a hologram. And because everything is merging, is shifting, this timeline of reality is basically not going to be anymore in this location, may move to this location or that location. Because remember, this was like X and Y, latitude, altitude. Because consciousness is always moving, is always creating, is a life structure, geometry, and your location, don't think you're going back in the future or you're going back, you're recreating another timeline. Every moment is a new timeline.
It happened at a very young age, and I didn't have any reference for it, but I knew how to get out of it. I had to be just very still. And it would quiet down, and then I could wait. It was when I was 40 that I actually left my body. But it happened without the sound, and I actually projected through the wall, and that was my first experience.
That's right. Through sound, you can bring through cymatics. You can, sonic sound and cymatics, you can pop out of the body. That's true. But you have to know how to do it, and then is another thing, if you will be permitted to do it. Because some people may not be ready. The way, for example, I went into lucid dreaming, I popped out and I woke up, and every single time I wanted to go to the ET craft, and every single time I was stopped. Even with all the stuff I do, because I had to do from this platform. So depending again on agreements, things will happen. Unfortunately, it's like that because we have things to do, things to learn, and we simply can't skip it. But that doesn't mean that you cannot learn and try to expand. That's what I told everybody. Try lucid dreaming, because maybe this is the experience with me, may not be the experience with you, could be exactly what you need to connect. Because everybody has a different agreements. But I've learned everything. I've learned the automatic writing, the telepathic, the popping out of the body, all that, because, and then I've realized that I don't need to do that because I'm already connected. I can just really recreate from this reality another platform.
Without going anywhere.
Without going anywhere. That's right. Very good. Thank you so much. Very good question.
So that's all the questions, Marina. And
yes, thank you. Yeah, we made an hour.
Is there anything you'd like to end with before we complete for today?
Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for trusting me so I can express my higher self through you. Thanks again for your donations and support. It was very kind of you to do that because we also have families, and I really appreciate your support for anybody that has been here for me since the beginning. Please study the quantum structure. Is gonna repeat some of the stuff, go back if you miss some of the things because it is complex. Remember, I had to repeat sometimes 15 times one of the bylaws, but it's a learning process. Once you grasp it, it will be very beneficial. The next time will be very complex information. So please, I'm going to probably make 2 webinars, one after the other for that, every second week of the month, because I have literally downloaded like 2 pages, and 2 pages in quantum structure is a lot because I want to talk just a little bit, and then the next time Q&A for anything, not only the structure, we can touch anything. And the next time platform that they gave me is sound continuum vibrationary sonic equilibrium cymatic. That is about the language. They're going to teach us about the language, how it works, what's happening. And after those two, I have another one again about the sound. I think they're starting to teach us now what is our wording and connecting with the thoughts and the vibration does. That means how you create platforms of world and holograms, because the word is a vibration, it's geometry. So this is the next time we're going to discuss. If it's an extra message, of course I'm going to say it, because sometimes in the meantime they say something else. Of course I'm going to discuss that too in Q&A. And again, thank you so much for everything, you guys.